in simple terms, what is hypnosis? That is what we will discuss in today's video.
But first, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Juliana.
I'm DC.
And we are certified consulting hypnotists and tarot readers. DC also does some human design as well.
That's right.
And basically our deal is that with Sunflower Philosophy, we want to empower people through positive change with the tools that have helped us in our personal lives.
Yes, that's right. So we're going to start today with a simple definition of hypnosis. It's the one that we first encountered as we were training to be certified consulting hypnotists with the NGH, also known as the National Guild of Hypnotists. So what we were taught is that hypnosis is an altered state of consciousness where the subconscious level of the mind is in a state of hyper suggestibility. So maybe we should repeat that, right?
Yeah.
An altered state of consciousness where the subconscious level of the mind is in a state of hyper suggestibility. So let's just briefly break it down. It's a very straightforward and simple definition, but for someone who maybe is completely unfamiliar with hypnosis and maybe curious and all that, let's talk about first what we mean by an altered state of mind, because I think some people get either confused or even fearful about what kind an altered state is. But it's nothing weird, spooky, or scary. It's actually quite normal and natural.
Yeah, it's very simple. So an altered state of mind is anything from when you are falling asleep at night and you're in between that wakeful and sleep state, or waking up in the morning. Likewise, that sort of dreamy in-between state, that's an altered state of mind. Also, if you have ever meditated, when you're in meditation, you enter altered states of mind, maybe more relaxed or just different in some way than your average waking state. And also, this happens throughout the day depending on what tasks that you're engaged with. So if you're, for example, engrossed in a TV show, that is an altered state of mind. It's actually a hypnotic state of mind. If you're driving down the highway and you realize you've gotten to a certain exit or you've gotten to your destination without even realizing how you got there because you just, your body was on autopilot, you were in an altered state of mind. So it's something that's very natural to actually come in and out of throughout the day, depending on what you're doing. It's also known as a flow state as well. So if you are familiar with being in a kind of flow state where you're just very focused on a task and it just kind of flows and it just happens, that's an altered state of mind as well.
Right, yeah. I mean, I even call it like being in the zone, like you're really focused and you're really, into something, and it could be to the exclusion of everything else, And yet I don't want to get into the weeds there, but yeah, it's really just a natural state that we all experience, at various times of the day during, depending on what we're doing.
Yeah.
So, and actually, you can kind of either be zoned in or zoned out, right?
Yeah.
Like the driving example. If I find it's especially if you're going to taking a really familiar route, something you drive often, it's kind of like your subconscious mind takes over and your body just goes there because it knows it so well, right? That's the subconscious mind at work doing something that it knows so well,
Exactly,
like
yeah.
the expression knowing it like the back of your hand, which is kind of a weird expression, but that's an expression that means like, you know it so well. And that's how like the subconscious mind takes over when you're driving.
Exactly. Where the conscious factor of your mind has sort of stepped aside.
Yes.
Isn't as prevalent, isn't taking control.
Yes, exactly. So we will discuss that in more detail in further future videos. But what do we mean by hypersuggestibility? So you want to start?
Yeah, so when it comes to hypersuggestibility, we're talking about the ability of your mind to basically take on new suggestions. And when we say suggestions, we mean when most hypnotists are working with clients who are looking to change something in their lives, what we're looking to do is create suggestions that we can then give to the client's subconscious mind that will allow them to take on this new identity, this new action that they want to take on in their life.
Right, to get the results they want, to make the change they desire.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about hypersuggestibility, we're talking about basically harnessing the altered state of hypnosis in a very conscious, deliberate way, where we know that the subconscious mind will be more at the forefront than the conscious mind. And that is when we can basically drive home those suggestions that the client has chosen to create a faster adoption of the new identity into their everyday life. So it basically makes learning new things and taking on new belief systems that you want to take on easier and more seamless.
Right. So the client in this case would be more open to the suggestions, the change, the direction that they desire.
Yes. And yeah, because when it comes to hypersuggestibility, if your conscious mind has taken a backseat, your conscious mind is more likely to argue, to say, oh, well, we've never been the kind of person who does X, Y, or Z, or I don't feel like I'm capable of doing this. Whereas your subconscious mind is more likely to just say, oh, this is what you want? Okay, let's take that on. Let's put that into our programming.
Right. It's not even really saying it's just doing it,
just
right?
Doing it.
It's just doing it. Yeah.
So
Right. It just does it.
So
right?
That's what we mean
it doesn't argue,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So hypersuggestibility really means that your conscious mind is out of the way, your subconscious mind is ready to receive the information, and then that makes it easier in turn for you to then turn around and be a new person, be the person that you want to be on the other side of whatever suggestions that you've chosen to take on in your life, like eating healthier or quitting smoking or things like that.
Anything.
Yeah.
Anything. We all have programming that we did not intend to have necessarily. So, and programming we don't even know about. So,
because it exists on a subconscious level.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's very deep inside, and we're not thinking about it consciously. We just act certain ways, think certain ways, say certain things because we were programmed right from the start. I mean, it's natural. It's normal. That's just what happens to us. Hypnosis allows us to change that programming to something that we choose, something we desire.
Yes. And we'll talk a lot more about the kinds of things that people can use hypnosis for, it can be helpful for. And we'll also get more into like different topics about the subconscious mind and
all sorts of things.
Of things. We're going to talk also more about tarot as well, because we are tarot readers, and we'll also get into like anything else that aligns with the subject of personal growth and spiritual growth and things like that.
Well, and I'll get into human design and we'll talk about various topics. And we also welcome your suggestions. So if you have any suggestions for future videos, or if you have any questions, we can actually answer them in videos. We can make videos to answer your questions. So feel free to ask your questions or make your suggestions in the comments.
Yeah, and on that note, please like, subscribe as well, hit the notification bell to know when we will be making new videos, if all of that sounds really interesting to you. And of course, if you want to learn more, we do have a website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. The link will be in the description, along with our tarot YouTube handle, so you can visit our specifically tarot channel if you want pick a card readings or short readings, if you're interested in that. And then we also have an Instagram, sunflower.philosophy on Instagram, so you can check out more about us on Instagram as well. So all that information will be in the description, and we look forward to seeing you in future videos.
And if you know anyone who is either interested in hypnosis or interested in becoming a hypnosis client, feel free to share this video with them too. So thank you for joining us here at Sunflower Philosophy.
And stand tall and look towards the sun.
That's right. Bye for now.